Good evening and welcome to the NewsHour. Former President Donald Trump is turning himself in at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta, Georgia tonight. He faces 13 felony counts tied to his attempts to overturn the state's 2020 election result. It's the fourth time this year that Mr. Trump has faced criminal charges. A couple dozen of his supporters gathered outside the jail as the former president made his way from his Bedminster, New Jersey golf club to Atlanta. Sam Gringlas is covering this case for WABE Georgia Public Radio and joins us now from outside the Fulton County Jail. So Sam, walk us through what the former president will experience as he surrenders himself and is booked at that jail behind you.
Jeff, the former president is expected to have his mugshot taken, to have fingerprints, and he won't actually be in this facility very long, we expect. That's because earlier this week, his lawyers negotiated a $200,000 bond. So he probably won't be inside for very long before we see the motorcade come out down the street and head back to the airport.
Earlier today, Donald Trump shook up his Georgia legal defense team. Why? What does his new attorney, Stephen Sato, what does he bring to the team?
This new attorney is well known in the Atlanta criminal defense community. He is an expert at defending RICO cases. That's these broad racketeering cases that really forms the framework of District Attorney Fani Willis's case here in Fulton County. He has represented some famous clients in the past, like Usher and T.I., and really brings that experience with running a high-profile case like we'll have here in Fulton County.
Sam, two of the Georgia co-defendants in this case, Mark Meadows and Jeffrey Clark, tried to have this state case moved to the federal court on the grounds that they were federal officials when these acts were committed. But the judge in this case rejected that argument. And in fact, Mark Meadows was among those who surrendered and was booked today. What comes next on that front?
Yeah, so the judge rejected their argument to basically postpone them having to surrender themselves while that argument plays out. There's a hearing scheduled on Monday in federal court to determine whether it can be moved out of state court and into federal court. And what that judge will have to consider is whether these acts were committed under the color of office, basically as part of the official duties of these defendants when they were working out of the White House back in 2020 after the election.
And there were some new developments today from the DA, Fani Willis, regarding the timeline. This case, part of the case, could start within 2 months. Is that right? Bring us up to speed.
So one defendant filed a motion for a speedy trial, which is something you can do under Georgia code. Now, one question here will be what happens to the rest of the defendants. The district attorney has said that she is ready to go and move ahead to a trial for all 19 defendants. Former President Trump's lawyers have pushed back against that idea. So we just have to remember that it's up to the judge to set the schedule, not the district attorney. So it's really up in the air right now what happens with the timeline of this case. There are so many factors that could slow this down, from protracted jury selection to those efforts that you just mentioned to move this case out of state court and into federal court. So a lot of unclear in this moment where the timeline heads.
And the one defendant you mentioned is Kenneth Chesebro, who allegedly helped plan the fake elector strategy. The judge in this case said that his trial will start on October 23rd. But let's talk more about this judge, because he seems to be making decisions fairly rapidly. What more can you tell us about him?
So this judge was an appointee of Governor Brian Kemp, who's a Republican. He's actually only been on the bench for a couple of months, so he's fairly new to the courtroom. But lawyers who have worked with him, who have stood on the other side as defense attorneys when he served as a prosecutor, have said that he is smart and kind, and this will certainly be his biggest case yet.
Sam Gringlas of WABE Georgia Public Radio reporting for us tonight. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.